Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Today's podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Vinny.
I'm Joe.
All right, and we are joined today by Al Wilson. Al, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome, Al.
Yeah, welcome back. Second tour of duty here on the show, I think it is. Either 2 or 3. I forget how many it is now.
I think it's just a second.
Yeah. Do you know we missed the big 291 episode with Steve Tower? We completely whiffed on that. He was on episode 91 and episode 191, and he was talking in Colorado how he was coming up due for 291, and he missed it and I missed it. So
That's what happens when you get old.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
so now we
Not
have to
good.
start a whole new 100-episode tradition with him whenever we get him on the show. Anyway, we're going to be talking to Al Wilson today, catching up with him on all kinds of things going on since he was on the show last. But first things first, ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital to dice. Well, Al, we'll get right into it. But since you've already been on the show and we've already asked you the question, we have a new question for you on this second round. If you could go back in time and change any sporting event, what would that be?
I'd probably just ask for one win in the 98 World Series. Just have the Padres beat the Yankees just one game.
Wow.
Just one game.
Really?
Instead of getting swept. It's the closest we've ever gotten. And yeah, so I'm a diehard Padres fan. And for me, it was just brutal. It was just brutal, getting swept. So honestly, I would have loved to have at least gotten one thing to be happy about that year. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Now, would that win be in San Diego or New York?
Oh, San Diego, of course.
Really? You wouldn't want to win one in New York?
No, I'd want one for the home crowd.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay. That was
All
a
right.
buzzsaw you ran into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't you
Well,
guys go in 84? Were you there in 84?
Well, sure.
I know it's a long
Yes.
time ago.
But that was before. Yeah, I didn't. 84. I was still in Philadelphia, so I was still a Phillies fan in 84. I didn't become a Padres fan until 90. So R2 San Diego is still the town. It feels most like home to me than any other town. I lived there from 90 to 2015. So 35 years.
Wow.
Beautiful place.
Or 25 years, sorry. What did I say? 10, 20? Yeah, 25 years. Anyway.
That's all right. I bid on the 35.
Look what I'm wearing. I forgot.
Yeah.
Look, I'm wearing the San Diego Mariners. Look
Nice.
at that. I forgot that. Did you go to
Very
any
nice.
Mariners games in the 70s by chance?
No. I wasn't living there yet. But the Chargers make it to one Super Bowl and we get destroyed by the 49ers. And the Padres, while I was a fan, make it to the World Series against the Yankees and just get destroyed. So it's been quite a drought for them. So yeah, I'll pick that. I don't need much, just one win.
By chance, have you replayed that series on your table?
Oh, many times, and
Okay.
it's like a major league team versus a minor league team. It's not even close. The pitching, everything, pitching, the Yankees power, the Yankees hitting. The Padres never stood a chance. It was a magical run to get there, but yeah, it wasn't going to go any farther than that.
Yeah, it was one of the best teams in history, I think.
Oh yeah.
Right.
They compare a lot of Yankee fans that I know compare them. They say they think they were even better than the 27 Yankees.
Yep. Those are the two, 98
Yeah.
and 27
Yeah.
are what come up all the time.
And they say they think a lot of Yankee fans think they were even better.
Yeah, there were no weaknesses. No weaknesses.
Yeah.
No shame
Always
in losing
tough.
to that team.
It's tough when you go up against a team like that because, in 86 we had the Patriots and we were like, wow, wild card team, here we come. We played the Bears.
Exactly.
We didn't even finish the game. At the end of the third quarter, I think everybody went home. It was like, all right,
And then in 2007, he played the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants. Yep, Giants did well against us. So anyway, all right, Al, let's kick before we get to the Fast Drive football, which is the one I really want to get into here. Let's touch on some other things here. Your baseball game. What's going on with? Is it fast inning baseball?
Yeah, FIB, fast inning baseball. Right now, it's there's some things percolating. I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm a one track. It's not that I'm a one track mind, but when I start a project, I have to finish it. I can't work on multiple projects at the same time. But at least did a little brainstorming with the community and got the feedback that in order to get more seasons out for the game, would everybody be okay with, instead of super dialed in charts for every season, would you be okay if we stuck with the 10 sets of charts that we have now that basically span, the last 120 years of baseball in eras, in smaller eras than the traditional eras we think about? Would you be good with a baseball game like fast inning baseball? It's quick playing, where the scoring, the home runs, and the error rate is close enough to be believable? The answer was a resounding yes. So I'm actually working with Travis Jansen to come up with a way to more quickly produce those seasons. Now that I know that I won't have to create new charts for every season, because the way that Fib works is the secret sauce is not in the cards, the team cards themselves. It's in the actual charts where the results are derived from. And so unlike football, with, to mention Fast Drive football, since 1950, in general, except for some tweaks I had to do for turnovers, scoring's been the same. From 1950 to 2025, teams are averaging somewhere between 22, 23, 21 points per game, with a couple little outliers in like the 70s. But that aside, with fast inning baseball,
It's a different animal.
It's different animal, but I already have the work done for the different chart books for the different eras, like 1900 to 1919, 1920 to, I don't know, like 1930 something, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I'm hoping is, honestly, I think at least the next 6 months is going to be taken up by a lot of Fast Drive football work, including enhanced seasons and college. Once that is done,
now I don't have to ask my question.
Yeah.
Once that is done, I should be able to, hopefully, like the middle of the baseball season, start turning my attention back to fast inning baseball and start producing more seasons for that game. The game itself won't change. It's going to be the same game engine, the same charts that are for sale now. I'll just be offering more teams, and hopefully get to a point. My goal is to just get to the same point where Fast Drive football is, where, for Fast Drive football, it's every team since 1950s available. And then for Fib, it'll be 1900 to today.
Wow.
When
You'll
I say
go
that,
back?
Thanks for reminding me about that. So get the teams out, and at the same time work on some sort of cool way where I could do a fact deck, and maybe it'll, in my head, the way it would work is there will be a base set of fast action cards that would be considered like the cross era fact deck, like when you wanted to play the 27 Yankees against the 98 Yankees. We'll just normalize everything and make it play like my normalization that I always use is the 1978, 1979, 1980 era. If you look at any stats across the history of baseball, that's kind of where the middle is right in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
Normalize everything there, create one deck. Then people can just play with all the teams. And then what I'll do is I'll come out with some sort of way you swap in a couple cards if you want to do dead ball, or swap some out, swap some in. So there'll be a way where you can have a base set of cards where you can do cross era play. Then if you want to focus in on a season from a specific year, you'll be able to swap a few cards in for other cards. So the answer is yes. I do want to make it a fact-driven game. And so thanks for reminding me about that. So it's a combination of working on the seasons as well as a fact-driven version. And I would say probably, the same timing that I did with Fast Drive Football Fact Edition, towards the end of the year, towards the third quarter, fourth quarter. So sometime after October or later.
Nice. I'm a dead ball. I love dead ball era. So
cool.
I would look forward to that. Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah. So, and I know I played Fib, and I know it works the way you did the charts, 1947 to, so it works. So if you're keeping that in, why change the recipe? If it tastes good.
Let's talk about your 3D6 gaming. And I'm showing here the new custom digital dice scoreboard that arrived. In fact, I have 2 of these, and one of these we're going to be giving these away this month. So stay tuned for that. What got you into the 3D6 printing?
Well, I mean, years ago, I started dabbling in it just as a hobby. And the first thing, everybody was out there making functional prints that were useful to them. And it was, maybe 8 years ago that I was like, okay, I want to recreate the scoreboards from the old Avalon Hill games, the plastic football fields with the sliding football. And I did that for a time, and I actually sold those, and it was a lot of work though. Much like, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, much like the scoreboards that the other gentleman is making, where it's got magnets and it's a lot of work that goes into those. So, I did that for about a year, and then it just became so much work that I dropped it. The printers then got a lot less expensive, a lot more powerful, and able to do multiple colors in one print. And so just taught myself how to do some very basic 3D modeling and came up with the designs that we have today. The reason why I got into it, just because the 3D printer is a cool toy to have, and I wanted to figure out, how I could, justify, having this machine in the house. So told my wife, hey, can we support this hobby more if I make a few bucks? So it's just fun. I like to, I just like to make things. I like to create things. It's what I spend more time creating than I do playing these days, but it's how I enjoy to spend my time. So it's all good.
It's fun seeing the evolution of some of the scoreboards, like from your very first scoreboards, which you gave me a set last year in Canton, and I still love it. I still use it all the time here on the channel. And but that's morphed into a couple different things. And then even the smaller scoreboard, like I showed you've kind of changed that up a little bit. You're always kind of modifying and improving on them.
A lot of it is feedback from you guys, from the people that buy them, and so people will email me. Like originally, it was like, I thought the greatest thing was the football field. I thought that was it. Like who could want anything different than that? And then I got a lot of requests saying, cool that you made the football field, but all I want is the scoreboard. I just want somewhere to show the score. It's like, oh, you don't want the cool field? No, don't need the cool field. Just want a scoreboard. I'm like, all right. So that's what drove me to do that. And then watching your show and seeing you put the quarter or the period in the middle there, it's like, okay, that gave me the idea to put a little shelf on it. So I'm always iterating just based on the feedback I get from people, and I'm always watching to see how people are using it. And based on just observations, I can get ideas for new stuff.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Have you thought, since I think it's been the most popular game since he released the PDF version, the horse racing game. Have you worked on any, like the horses and stuff to go along with the cards?
Travis Jansen is already, so I'll say he beat me to it, but I wasn't going to do anything anyway because I'm not a big horse racing guy. Okay. The one thing to note here is everything I do initially because I want it. Like I want to use it. I want to play with it. So no, with the horse racing game, it was only 2 days ago that I even got a copy from Keith because of the podcast we're doing. But on the Play community page, I believe Travis has already posted photos. It's cool. He's got little trays that have a place for the jockey, a place for the horse, and then of course a 3D horse. That's vertical, so it gives like depth to the play area. So he's done really cool work on that, and he's got them for sale, and he got swamped when he first put the orders out. So those are out there.
How did I not see that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Well, I'll find them. Thank you.
To tack on to Dave's question about how you started with the 3D printing and all that, I'm going to go a step further. What prompted you to create games?
I never had the itch to create any games until I met Keith. So I met Keith in San Diego at a play event in, I think it was 2013, and it was there was a World Series or playoffs pre-play, and just through talking to Keith over the years, I sort of got the bug after about 2 or 3 years. Like so, I was very, very, very slightly involved with wrapping up History Maker Baseball, and then I was really involved with History Maker Golf, and that's why those two are
Yeah, I love
framed
them.
behind
Sounds
me.
Nice.
Because because my name's in the credits on those because I helped him with that. And as I sort of got a peek behind the curtain and I understood his methods and how he was bringing his ideas to life, slowly over time I got the bug. And it was about the time where express games were sort of starting to pick up interest from the community. And so, I was bugging him about, you need to do a second season express. And he's like, okay, do you have any ideas? And I'm like, no, but I took that as a challenge. And a prototype of what become Fast Drive Football was the result of that. And it was about a week later. It was only a week later. And I emailed it to him. I said, check it out. He's like, oh, well, I've already got it done. He had already done second season express. It came together in like a week.
Wow.
And he sent it to me at the prototype and I played it. I'm like, all right, yep, this is really good. And I put mine down for a year. And it was about a year later that I decided, you know what? I'm going to pick it back up and see if I can't just finish this thing.
Mhm.
So, and it was long story. I think it was the reaction that I got when I finally finished Fast Drive Football and I published it, and the reaction was so positive from the community. That's probably what cemented it in terms of, oh wow, I can do this. So it was
Your
it
aha
was
moment.
it was well, at first it was a challenge, and then it was with the good feedback. It's like, all right, well, if people are enjoying it, maybe I am capable of
Yeah.
creating games.
Yeah, it's inspiring to
Uh,
know that. So
yeah.
it gives you that little boost to add more
Yeah,
to it. Yeah.
I think and a lot of people are doing it these days. You just can't be afraid to put your stuff out there. Go ahead and put it out there and see what people think.
Right. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yep.
Right?
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, then good.
Yeah. And like you said, you like to create, so you go back to the drawing board if something didn't work.
Exactly.
Why not? Still having fun doing what you're doing.
Now you had you mentioned a podcast coming up. Tell us a little bit
Yes.
about the podcast.
So it is Play Nation, playnationpodcast.com. As you guys know, or as I'm assuming most of the audience knows, I'm very close to Play Games. Have been friends with Keith now for, like I said, 13 years. And it came honestly as a surprise and a shock to me when he announced there in this past December, that Sam was going to be, going off on his own, no longer helping with the business. Sam has been helping Keith produce his games for over 5 years. And in that time, they built up a really strong YouTube presence with the PlaySpace Live. And that was going to have to stop. Now, Keith is going to try to forge on with the PlaySpace Live, but it's likely not going to be as often or as well produced as it was when Sam was around. So when I was visiting Keith over the holidays, I floated an idea to him, and that is, look, the success of Play Games is really important to me. It's important to your community. How about we replace your PlaySpace Live with an audio podcast? I said, I've got some friends that are, I said, I've never done a podcast, but James and Harvey have. I know that I could get them on board. And he was all in for it. And so me, James Cass, and Harvey Couch are doing this independently. It is not, we're not part of Play Games per se, but it is going to be, Keith is our sponsor, and it will be a podcast dedicated solely to play games, the play classic sports games, as well as the play now games.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
We're not,
That's really nice.
you know, so sure, it may come up. 3-6 Gaming might come up just in conversation, but we're not going to be covering any of my stuff. James has got his own podcast, and that'll stay separate, and that'll keep going. So this will be the idea here is we wanted much like you have a place for the community to come and ask questions about just the breadth of tabletop sports games. Wanted something focused just on Keith's catalog as a way to give him support, especially this year when he's losing, half of his capacity. And selfishly, honestly, we're allowing him to focus on what we really want him to focus on, which is making games, making card sets, producing, freebies. He stressed to me how important time in his schedule is for, creating card sets that he can just give away for free to keep the goodwill going. So so selfishly as a consumer of his games, it's a way to let him focus on being a game designer and a game publisher, and take up the banner a little bit with regards to the community. Keeping the community conversation going, giving people a place to go.
Good for you guys. And you know what? He deserves it. Mm-hmm. You guys deserve it. You've supported him through and through. As you know, I know Keith. I might have been the first guy to test second season football, and that's going back a ways. So
it is
showing my age. But Keith's a little older than me. But Al, what a fantastic person he is. I love him. I'd do whatever I could for him. So I was giddy as heck when I saw you guys saying that you wanted to try and boost Keith's stuff and all. So I wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely.
And anything we could help with.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I know what you meant when you said the selfish part as a consumer and a gamer.
Yeah.
But it's
it's
a generous thing you're doing. It really is to help Keith. Because he's a guy I would fly across the country to help. Yeah. He's just a genuine, good human being.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So that's fantastic. All righty. So that's coming out this month, right? You said you're going to start in this month?
I think, I don't think we haven't advertised a date because, this will be our first one. And so we're recording on the 22nd. We hope to publish it the 23rd. So, please don't hold me to that, but that is the plan. And we're going to do it twice a month. So, Keith has a Play Connect blog that he does. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a show the week before the blog. Then he'll have the week where he puts out his blog and possibly does a video. And then we'll also do a show the following week. So twice a month, not, depending on how the months fall out. It's not exactly every other week, but 2 shows a month.
Nice.
Fantastic. I think the people are going to love it. People are going to love it.
I'm looking forward to it. I love play games.
Yep.
Not me, right? You can't see my shelf. I'll turn but I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah.
You guys going to go heavy on the hockey, right? The hockey blast, I would hope.
What's that?
You're going to go heavy on the hockey blast.
I'm saying that for me.
Oh, no, I heard you.
I can't hear you. Good
My
one.
favorite one is right behind him. That I love the golf game. Love it.
I have it. They're teasing me because I have 3 tables in my gaming room.
Yeah.
One of them always has Hockey Blast on it. Vinny was here. I never take Hockey Blast down.
And the other one might have History Maker Baseball on it more than anything.
No, and then I have your game right behind me. I don't know if you can see
it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right. Speaking about that game, let's get on to it here. Let's go to the Fast Drive Football Fast Action Card version, which took everybody by storm. Wow. I can't stop playing it. I just bought a second set of cards. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna set up the second half so I can just kind of grab that deck and go, or if I'm gonna mix all those cards together so I have.
Al, did you just set him straight on what he's supposed to be doing?
No. I want him to do the second thing. I want him to put them all together, honestly, because I don't have the time to do it myself. I want to see what happens. So take those 2. Look, what I said on the Facebook post was exactly right. Over the long term, well, first of all, look, if you're using charts and dice, you guys know that when you're talking about rolling dice, every chance can come up over and over and over and over and over. When you're doing fat cards,
Mhm.
you're taking them out. Probabilities go down that result will ever happen again. And so the reaction to the FAQ version has been great, but I know in my head it's going to be less swingy. It's going to be more centered. The results are just going to be a little bit less crazy as it would be with the charts and dice. So when you mash 2 FAQ decks together, shuffle them up, and take out those 60 cards, who knows what you're going to get? You could get, every one of the interception cards. You could get every one of the fumble cards. You could get a lot more touchdowns. You get fewer touchdowns. So I would expect that if you were to do that, you're going to have some higher scoring games that you've ever seen. You're going to maybe get some 0-0 games that you're not getting with the current version. But I'd say 60% of the time you're going to get the same results you're getting now.
Right.
So I'm sort of excited about you trying it that way. The original version of the game, when I was first charting this out, I thought I was going to have a couple hundred cards. And so, doing the math, I figured out, no, I can do it all with the number of cards that I have, the 72, but it does mean that it does, bring everything towards the mean a little bit, meaning there's going to be less outliers in the results. And for me, that was fine. It's a good trade-off for me because I love the convenience of the FAQ deck. And the fact that I can't roll the same result, 5 times in a row, the fact that I can't pull that same card, it doesn't bother me that much, especially since you are shuffling during the half. So anyway, go for it, Dave. Please do, and then report back. I'd love to know how it turns out.
Now, the fast action cards, they're all numbered, right? So if at some point it wasn't going well or I wanted to go, I could look at the numbers and separate them?
Easy to separate them, yeah.
Okay, good.
I got to do it, boss. I'm looking forward to hearing the results.
Originally, it was just because I wanted to start the next half so fast I could have them all set to go. But
he wants to rename it Extra Fast Drive Football.
Nuclear fast. But now you can, boss, because now you get your cards, split them, and even after you shuffle them, you can split them in half again.
Right.
Yeah,
you could.
And you're still mixed.
Yep. All right, so let's get right down to it. What was the idea of going to fast action cards? You got this game out, you're rolling dice, you're looking at the chart, everybody's been playing it, it's a fun game to do. What was the impetus of moving to fast action cards?
So I knew you were going to ask that, and I'll be darned if I can remember. Honestly, I remember how hard I worked on it. I remember this was over the summer last year, and we were on a trip to Australia to visit the grandkids, and I was working it on the plane. I was working on it whenever the grandkids were napping. I just had a bug in my butt. I had to get it done, and because I knew it would work. But I've always love Status Pro Baseball, for example. I've always loved fact-driven games. And there's probably some more that I'm not thinking of. I've got Highlight Maker Hoops on my table right now doing something for the podcast. But I just think fact-driven games for me have a flow that is great for narrative, keeping the story going on between your ears. Less of a chance for there to be a break or dropping the dice on the floor or something like that. But I think the original idea came about when it was done. Fast Drive Football was done. I had all the seasons done. I still have more enhanced seasons to do, but I was thinking, what else could I do with this? Where else could I take it? And I had thought, I think it was in the spring of last year, I was thinking, wonder what History Maker Baseball would be like with fast action cards, because it's, just charts. And I was looking, I was like, well, shoot, there's the main charts, then there's all the umpire charts, then there's the chemistry charts, and then there's the fielding charts. I said, it could work, but it would be kind of messy. I'd have to have a lot of cards and, so it's an interesting idea, but probably not something that makes sense to do. And I think it was the next day that I woke up thinking, oh my gosh, I've got a game, has a lot less charts in it. This might work. And so I just got set working at that point on the math of it, trying to figure out, how many cards would I need and all that. So really, I think it was beginning. The idea came to me after thinking about how History Maker Baseball might work that way, and then pivoting to my game on it.
Well,
Brilliant.
very interesting.
I love it. I do. And I'm not you've heard me talk about it. I'm not a Fast Play Express guy. I got hooked on it. I started in 1968 replay, and it's addicting.
It is very addicting.
Yeah.
What was
I'm sorry.
the idea of going to Game Crafter? How did that come up?
So, well, I mean, we've been to the shows where we've seen ST's game, and with all due respect to ST, he's a great guy. I still haven't played his game, but the components were great. All those cards, and so I knew the components were great, and I had done a few things with Game Crafter in the past, like just my own printing stuff for myself. Printing some fast action cards for other stuff for myself. So I knew the quality. And then also, in addition, I don't know if you guys have ever played Breakaway Football. So Arthur France, Uplink Underground is his company's name. He makes a game called Breakaway Football. And I own a lot of the stuff for that game, a lot of the teams, the solitaire mode and all that. And I knew that Game Crafter just put out quality stuff. Now, I also knew that they were on the expensive side. I did the research. I actually had some folks from the community reach out to me and suggest some other companies that do sort of the same thing. So Game Crafter is one of about a dozen different companies in the United States that will take your game and package it and sell it for you. Ultimately, it came down to I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to quality. And it's worth it. Because you and other people that have reviewed it, you usually, that's the first thing you talk about is how quality it is. Like, if I could, Dave, you've used the word quality like over and over and over when you've talked about the game. And so it is more for the consumer. Absolutely. I don't make as much on it. Absolutely. But I wanted something if it was going to have my name on it, I wanted it to be as professional as it could be. And I knew it was only going to be, it's a hundreds of copies kind of game. It's not a thousands or tens of thousands copies kind of game. So yeah, I wanted, and also you didn't ask this, but originally the reason why the idea took off in my head is because I'm like, I could have a boxed game of my own. I could have like a boxed game with my name on it. If I'm the only one that buys it, then fine.
It's still cool. Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason why I went with Game Crafters, because I knew if I'm going to have a copy for myself, I want it to be the best quality.
Yeah, I enjoy the quality of it, and again, it's more expensive. But I mean, when you get it, it's this is worth every penny of it. Is that the feedback you're getting? The people that have it is like, man, I wasn't sure about spending this kind of money, but boy, I'm glad I did.
Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't had one person reach out to me and complain about the price. I thought I'd get at least a few. They could have been polite. Not one person has said, I don't feel like I got my money's worth. No. So no.
Good for you.
Yeah. So everything's been great.
I don't see how you could. I went through this. I think I was pretty big when I found ST's football game, which, it's no secret. I share this all the time. It's my favorite game on the planet. And the cards are a little bit of initial investment, but it's 3 decks. When you're getting them from the get-go, it's an investment. You don't have to buy them ever again. And when they came from Game Crafter, as you know, these things are insane. I showed my niece nothing about games. She didn't. Her boyfriend, they came over to eat. My sister, just when was that? Saturday, Joe? The kids were here. He whispers to my niece, I'd like to know what he's talking about. I said, come on downstairs. I started showing him your game. I showed him matchup, and I showed him the matchup basketball cards. He goes, this kid don't play these games. They play family games, he said, which I thought was great. And he was like, I can't believe how these things feel. I said, I got more. And I showed him the payoff pitch cards and then the data boxing cards. I said, these are quality. These are the top of the line in the gaming industry. Hands down, this, and then there's that. And that's okay too. But if you want the best, you nailed it, Al. You nailed it. And I'm happy for you. I really am.
Thank you. And you overcame a challenge in that you're saying that nobody complained. You went from giving a free game That's a challenge, and kudos to you for nobody complaining about that. That shows the quality
Yep.
that you produced.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
And the engine, the game engine with the, like, I was confused when I had to use the charts. And Mark Miller used to yell at me because, he's like fanatical. How do you not grasp that?
I used to too, remember?
Yep.
Yeah,
said,
let's talk
"There's-"
about that engine. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you go to the fast action cards and they're 30-second cards, and your first card tells you how long the drive is. That completely changed the difficulty of the game from being, I'm a little confused on what to do here, to it's laid out in front of me. How can I screw this up?
Yep.
So this is one of my favorite stories about the game. Honestly, when I was in Canton and I was demoing the game, there were two decks. There was one deck that you'd flip for the drive time, and there was another deck that you'd flip for the result.
I remember seeing that.
And it was the first time that I had gotten a chance to show the game to Keith. So we're coming back to Keith Avalone here. We were at dinner that night in Canton. I don't recall if any of you were there, but there was a break in the conversation. Keith was sitting at the other end of the table, and I said, "Keith, we haven't had a chance to talk. I demoed the game to you. Did you have any feedback, any thoughts, any notes?" And he's like, "No, but have you thought about just instead of having to keep a score sheet to keep time, why not just make the cards the time?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, just have so many cards in the deck, and when you're done going through all the cards, that's the quarter, or that's the half." And I'm like, and my eyes just bugged out of my head, and my jaw dropped, and I said, "Oh my God, that's it. That was what's missing." And so it was Keith Avalone who gave me the idea that each card could represent, and it was actually within 10 seconds, I knew in my head how many cards I had. I'm like, each card can be 30 seconds. You just discard 12 and you're down to 60. That's the half. And so, it was kismet. I mean, it was again, Keith. And the way he said it was so off cuff, nonchalant, like, "Yeah, why should you just do that?" Just thought, and I'd been working on this thing for months, and it never occurred to me to make. So Dave, I appreciate that question, but I cannot take credit for that,
Yeah.
for that stroke
But
of
that was
genius.
the game. But again, you took that and ran with it and made it what it is. So let's be fair about it. That you did go with that. It just makes the game so much easier. You flip the card and it tells you. And it's like Bang Shot Basketball does the same thing. Is your timing deck is the card. So you watch that clock whittle down. And when I'm playing Fast Drive football and there's it's a little over 5 minutes to go and you get a long drive and you're like, oh boy, 1, 2. You can just see the clock. It's like, oh man, time is just ticking away on this team.
Right.
It just works so well, and there's a lot of anxiety watching those
Yep.
cards go
Or
away.
when you pull that 8-minute card and it's heading
Oh
down
yeah,
to- oh no, not
Yeah.
now.
yeah,
Even in your game now, when you're pulling it and you see there's 3 cards left in the game and the team's down, do I go for it now or do I take the shot and then boom, time runs out?
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
you had
Yeah.
a little strategy at the end of the game.
No,
now.
it
the
worked
back
out
cards.
really well. It did. Thank you. It worked out really well in that there are decisions to be made for you, which is unique in our hobby. When you as the gamer have sort of agency, it's like, okay, the decision I make is going to impact one of these teams. So yeah, that's I am happy with how the efficient and inefficient quality translated to the card game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was genius.
Yeah.
Genius. stuff.
What was the idea behind? Okay, so you get 60 cards in a half, right? What was the idea to go with 72 and take 12 out?
So you need 72. So just to make it simple, I wanted the same probabilities of results that we have in the chart book, because it worked, because it was the chart book had been proven over years to produce good results. And so in order to do that, mathematically, it works out to 72 cards. And just another shout out to some help I got from Brian Aronov. And hopefully you've all met Brian. He's been at many
what
of
a
our
sweetheart.
events. He's he's a professional data analyst, data engineer, and infinitely smarter than I am when it comes to quickly understanding probabilities in game design. And so I told him the little bit of a problem that I had, which was I was having a problem getting it down to 72 cards because there are some results that are triples that only happen, one in 216 of the chances there. And so again, much like Keith with his timing idea, the final breakthrough was with the help of Brian, who said, just have split results on the cards then. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's great, because not only does it solve the math problem of getting down to 72 cards, but it adds more fun to the game to have those split results.
Yep.
I see it when you play, Dave. I feel it myself when it's like, okay, it's either a touchdown or a fumble. It's like, it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And so eventually I was sitting around 80 some cards, 90 cards. And it was through working with Brian that I got it down to 72. And so that statistically and from a probability standpoint, now every result had the same exact chance of happening as in the chart book. And so and then when I was like, okay, well, if we're going to make each card 30 seconds, that's only 60. In my mind, that was a beautiful way of adding some randomness to each half, because you're removing 12 cards. So you're removing, and it's going to be, so you're going to be having a different shuffle of cards every single time, every single half of the game you play. You're never going to have the same, collection of cards twice. And so I think it's just a great additional way to randomize the facts.
Are there thoughts to adding maybe an expansion deck to even increase that different results, variability?
No, like you said, you can just buy another fact deck. There are no other results to add in. It's balanced the way it is.
One of my favorite things about the game is, I believe, and if I'm wrong, correct me, I believe every team has the possibility of a kickoff return, a punt return, an interception return, and a fumble return. Is that, am I right with that?
You mean for a touchdown? Absolutely.
For a touchdown, yes. Okay. That's one of the things I like, and that's stuff we've talked about here on the show for many years, is if a guy didn't hit a home run, do you give him a chance to hit a home run? If the guy didn't score a goal, can he score a goal? If a team didn't, and I play a lot of the drive-by-drive games. I love the drive-by-drive games, but sometimes it's like, well, this team didn't do it in real life, so they can't. And so you play the game knowing that I don't even need to kick off because they can't return it for a touchdown. I don't know. I like a small chance of anything being able to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will probably come out in conversations in our own podcast, but I'm more of a gamer than a replayer. So I am always going to err as a game designer. I'm going to err on the side of fun versus statistical precision and perfection when it comes to outcomes. So it was really important to me when I first published the game. I used to have a blurb on my website that said I coined my engine a bit of a chaos engine, in that there's a lot of wiggle room in the middle of this game engine where you're going to have teams that performed very poorly are still going to perform very poorly. Teams that performed really well are still going to perform really well, but it's that fun middle ground where you're just not sure, is that 8-8 team going to end up being 5-11, or maybe they go 10-6. You just don't know with the way the engine is built. Same thing with results. So I actually, not only can every team possibly get a score off of a turnover or a punt or a kick return, a few people know this because it was in some of the original designer notes. When I'm creating teams, if a team had a kickoff return or a punt return for over 75 yards but didn't get a touchdown, they actually get the semi-electric quality. Because in my mind, I'm thinking about, you're telling me the receiver just got caught by his shoelaces, maybe by the kicker at like the 10-yard line.
Or the
and
coach
missed
stepped
his-
off the sideline in his way, something like that.
Something. He missed, that returner missed their one shot that season by just 10 or 20 yards. So I give them the semi-electric quality, even if they didn't score that touchdown, if they had a return of 75 yards or more. But you're right. Even if they didn't meet any of those criteria, didn't score a
They have a
touchdown,
shot.
didn't have a long return, they can still have a chance.
I think that's a fun
But what your game is going to do when you come out with the 25-26 NFL set, you're going to give the Jets a chance to make an interception.
So,
Because you know that they didn't. They're the first team that
I know.
hasn't made. Yeah,
that was a big conversation on my Facebook page. And so the set is actually available now. And I didn't do anything special for them. There were some people that said I should make a boutique quality that says if they get that result, they end up punting, or if a team throws an interception against the Jets, change it to a punt. I'm like, no. They're already getting, there's a quality called meek in the game. And basically it prevents you from getting many interception attempts or results. And they're going to have that. They have that quality. And so they will likely look, statistically, they can end up with 0 even with that quality, but they'll probably end up getting 1 or 2. But it's possible they'll get 0. And how cool would that be?
Right.
But is anybody going to replay the Jets season to find out?
Don't dare me. Don't dare me. So you know what, Al? And I know because you study all the stats for your stuff and all of that, but people don't realize they're knocking the Jets. Yeah, it sounds crazy how you don't get an interception, especially in an era where they're throwing the ball so often.
right.
But statistically, around the whole league, these quarterbacks don't throw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about that.
Yeah.
But, and I barely follow the NFL. And if I know that, come on, these guys they want to rip on my Jets, man. All right,
Listen, I can't talk much this year either. So
no, but my point is they just, if they did this in an era when, we'll go to the 50s, when the average was probably 5 and change for a quarterback to throw an interception. If they did it then, it stands out huge.
Yeah.
Today, like I said, these kids, they don't throw.
it's all in perspective.
Yep.
So I don't know, but I'm looking forward. I'm going to get it. My other question was, you're not doing anything pre-40, or it's just hard to get
pre-50. I'm not doing anything pre-50.
Yes.
No. And the reason is the game was a lot different.
Yeah.
When actually the game was a lot different in the 50s even so, still it was still close enough that it works with this engine. Now could I do something pre-1950? I could, but there'd be so many boutique ratings. The card would get jumbled. So no plans.
Or you get a whole new game, fast action deck.
No, if he's
I'll buy it.
If he's going to do that, it's got to be a hockey game.
Now we're moving into a whole different. Those are my other questions that are written right here.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Fast ice hockey. Yeah, I can see it. Fast ice hockey.
Fast ice hockey.
Yeah.
What other thing I really enjoy, but again, then we'll wrap things up because we do have a live show coming up right after this. I love how you've worked field position into the game and even home team advantage a little bit. Talk a little bit about how that came into play.
So that all came into play because that's how I watch. So I'm an NFL fan more than, I think even more than like a single team fan. I just have always been in love with the NFL. And so I've watched thousands of games over the years. And when I watch a football game, I pay attention to the line play for some reason, seeing which line is dominating or which line, whose offensive and defensive line is dominating. Field position and time of possession for me has just always been something I pay attention to. It's like I can see the trends happening as time's ticking away, whether it's time of possession, whether it's the field position game. That's always been important to me as an observer of a game to sort of understand the strategy behind how a coach may be calling the game. So that led me to do the research. Look, there's been some papers written calling them papers might be a little bit too much, but there's articles and blogs online where they've broken down statistically the odds of teams scoring depending on what yard their drive starts at. So that data, that analysis that someone else did was really the basis for the second iteration of my game. Because originally my game was multiple charts where if you're like around the 20 or 30 yard line, you'd roll on this chart, and then possibly you'd move ahead in the field, you'd roll on a different chart. Did you move ahead to the red zone? You roll on a different chart. And then I saw this article and I was like, you know what? It's pretty much written in stone. The probability that you score a touchdown if your drive starts, behind the 20 is a lot worse than if you start from the 20 to the 40. And then the next break-off point is your 40 to the opponent's goal line. That's the third break-off point. That's how I got the poor, average, and great.
I love it.
Was based on that. And so all I had to do was then build those as additional qualities into the game, build the field position. And for me, that, and I also definitely, from a design standpoint, felt like I needed to bring something different. That game-winning drive at the time was the granddaddy for me. Mm-hmm. I had reviewed it on my channel. I actually, consider myself friends with Phil Revere, who's a co-designer of that game. So it was important for me to bring something new to the drive-by-drive game, and it was really the field position. And for me, I thought, I know you guys aren't a big fan of it, but the timing die. So the field position and the timing die were the two things that I thought were unique that I brought to it.
Cool.
No, it is because the game-winning drive again. I learned that from watching a video way back in the day, and I think I said that in Colorado, and I got booed. Or you got booed. One of us got booed.
It was me.
That caught me off guard. I gotta say it did. But that's the one I played all the time, mm-hmm. and then I started playing Momentum football, which was from Downey, and that added some time. So what you weren't locked into 5 drives and then 10, and then your game comes out and it's like, boy, it's fast moving, it's mm-hmm. drive by drive, but you have all these little variables in here that add to it. It doesn't feel so stuffy. And again, I love the game-winning drive, and I'm not talking bad about it, but mm-hmm. this really, it expanded it, but it still kind of kept it in the drive-by-drive category without turning it into a full-play game. So you get a lot more football in the same time frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I mean, the qualities for things like the propensity to give up a sack. There's take that as an example. There's very little in that event. It ends up with a punt, right? A team's porous, they give up a sack, they end up punting. But what it does is gave them the ability to say, oh, but maybe they're backed up now. It's not just a punt. They're backed up. Or, it's a coffin corner. So that's why, a lot of the qualities in the game don't directly impact the score. Prolific is the scoring quality for an offense. All the other ones are sort of ancillary. But that's the way it is with real football. It's the little things that add up to those scoring mm-hmm. opportunities. Yeah. And so just Dave, taking you back to field position, for me, watching a couple drives end in a punt, and then finally they get enough, one team gains enough yards, pins the other team deep. They have poor field position. They have to punt backed up. Now the other team has great field position, mm-hmm. leads to a score. And I've seen it happen on your channel, and I've seen you even say, well, look at that, because they were backed up, got great field position. This mm-hmm. next card I drew said, are you great field position, touchdown? It's like, and you can see the progression.
Well, the field position, not only that, many times on my channel, it's like I get poor field position. You can't get out of it. You punt, and they have either average or great. Punt it back, poor field position, 3 or 4 times in a row, because I'll keep track of that on my score sheet. It's just like, man, this team has started poor field position 4 drives in a row. They need to get to the half so we can get rid of this field position game and reset, and that's what it does. And I don't think any of the fast drive football game does that. You get that feel like, oh, here we go again. We're starting at the 9,
Yeah, the whole punting mechanism.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite parts of the game. It sounds crazy, but I just think it was brilliant the way it works, as you guys just described. That you could feel the game football. inside of that.
Al?
Inside of that, like 'cause you could see them playing the
Yes.
field position against each other. And again, I'm going to say it was brilliant. Great job, Al.
Al, as an ex-semi-pro football coach, and I was a special teams coach, you really nailed it with the time,
Thank you.
with the field position. You really did.
Thank you.
Yep. That was
Al,
great.
you know what I wanted to ask? When you release the current college season, that'll
Or
be.
did you say when am I going to?
Yeah.
Probably the day after the national championship game.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
All right, I got my cards in my back pocket. Yeah. It'll be enhanced.
Oh no.
That's going to be a while.
It'll be, I don't have any, personally, I have not done any of the college sets enhanced. Some community members have, I think, but for me, no, it's just the standard format.
Okay. I'm not selfish. Yeah, because this college season was like, I'm a bigger college fan. I don't even follow the NFL that much anymore.
Got
But I
it.
love the college game. I love it. And this season has been, now I think I kind of feel, well, Miami might have a shot. This Indiana team is really, really scary.
Someone made that post on ST's forum about ST. Do you think this Indiana team is now one of the all-time
Yes.
greats? And how can they not be? They are. Yeah. So I agree with you.
Wow. And you talked about offensive line when you're thinking how you're watching the game and all. And I watched what they did in their semifinal game, and that was just scary.
And we'll be
Scary.
able to use the current game with college.
No. So if you have the book, yes, charts and dice with college, but the FAQ edition, no. The FAQ edition, the college game, yeah. Sorry, Vinny, I'm not sure.
But you'll make me up a fact set before.
That is, I'm gonna have to work on that. I figure I would hope by the middle of this year I'll be able to
Okay.
get that out there.
Okay.
So like I haven't, it's like right now my focus is on just getting the pro game enhanced seasons done. I have 30 more years to go. I just finished
Wow.
the 80s today. Just published the rest of the 80s today. So I have the 90s, the aughts, and the 10s. And I've already got the 20s out there, I think, or most of the 20s out there. So get those done, then flip over to college. And that won't,
I get you.
that shouldn't be too much work.
All right, cool. So the college stuff that guys are playing have been with the dice and the charts.
Yes, absolutely.
I still have your charts. Yeah, for
Okay.
college.
Okay. Any other questions before we let Al go and we jump onto the live audience? Joe, anything?
Fast
anything
drive
for you?
No,
lacrosse.
he covered everything.
Fast drive lacrosse. No, it's
He's-
I've been
You know,
following that sport lately
if-
because of Ryan, and it's fantastic. I don't know if I've ever watched it like in my life, and now I'm like
No.
watching replays.
now,
of it.
aren't you glad I talked you into buying the lacrosse blast game?
I do. I like it.
Ernest,
I like
said,
it.
Vinny
but I'd like to
Broadbent, you're
see
going to be
something.
sorry.
I'd like to see something along the fast drive lacrosse thingy.
I will never say never to any
No,
other
true.
games, but I got plenty of work to do for now.
It sounds like it. And I wish you the best with it all.
Yeah.
Nah,
All right.
great stuff.
Yeah. So again, we've been talking to Al Wilson here on episode 296 of the Digital Today's podcast. Al, where can we find your stuff? Where can we get your 3D6 gaming stuff? Where can we find Fast Drive Football? Where can we find the baseball? Where can we find the new podcast?
For all of the 3D6 gaming stuff, including Fast Inning Baseball, Fast Drive Football, my home brews, and my 3D prints, just start at 3d6-gaming.com. Sort of like the landing spot for everything. And then for the new podcast that's starting up in a couple weeks, that is playnationpodcast.com, PLAAY, nation podcast.com.
All right. Fantastic.
Awesome.
I want to thank you so much for coming on. And again, good having you on. And boy, I know the three of us play this football game. And we just all love it. We really do. We have to have him on and talk about this again because
Oh, yeah.
having the fast action cards, it went from a game that I played once in a while to a game that I just can't stop playing because of the timing and the cards. It just flows.
Yes.
It just does.
Yep.
And you know what? Before we go, I do need to say that, Dave, without a doubt, every time you have the game on your show, I I get a couple dings in my checkout
Good.
from people purchasing either the game or a season. So thank you very much for everything
Good.
you've done to support the game, your show. I
Well,
really
let's
appreciate
hope
it.
when he combines both decks, now people will be ordering more decks. Right.
You might have to
Hey.
have the Game Crafter Jumbo deck, you know?
There you go.
Do it, boss. Get it out this week.
All right, anyways, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is our email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And again, be looking out for our giveaways this month as we'll be giving away the Digital to Dice scoreboard, 3D6 printed scoreboard from Al Wilson at 3d6-gaming.com. It will be just a scoreboard, though, so you will have to have the numbers and the team names already. So just kind of a bonus scoreboard here if you'd like that. But we'll be giving one away here on the channel this month. So anyway, I am Dave for Joe, Vinny, and Al. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, take care, everyone.